Welcome to the darkness you were born from. Welcome to the silence they tried to bury you in. Welcome to the room they locked and never gave you the key to. You're here now. You made it. Not because someone held the door open, not because they gave you a seat at the table, not because they saw your worth, but because you took the blade they stabbed you with and carved your own entrance. This isn't a speech for the blessed, the chosen, the comfortable. This is for the wolves who were raised in cages and taught to fear their own bite. This is for the fire that was never meant to survive the rain. This is for you, the outcast, the reject, the storm in human skin. You weren't invited. They didn't even speak your name. But you showed up anyway. And not only did you show up, you ruined everything they built. Before we rip this world apart, I want you to stop and look at yourself right now. I want you to realize something. They didn't see you coming. They wrote you off. They smiled when you lost. They slept well thinking you were done. They gathered in their rooms full of fake light and celebrated your silence. But somehow, you keep crashing their plans. You keep showing up. You keep surviving. You keep becoming the monster they fear in their dreams. And if you're feeling this right now, if something in your blood is rising while I speak, then this message is meant for you. And if you want more of this venom, this truth, this ruthless drive, then subscribe right now. Smash that button like it's every door they slammed in your face. Like this video, if you've ever had to watch them win while you bled in the shadows, because we're just getting started, and you haven't even begun to see how dangerous you are. They made their plans without you. They drew their maps with borders to keep you out. They created rules, systems, networks, all built on the foundation that you would stay small, silent, weak. They built empires assuming you would stay beneath them, looking up. But you started digging. You started climbing. You broke laws they thought were divine. You rewrote the script they cast you out of. You didn't ask for permission because you knew they'd never give it. And now their towers are trembling. Their voices are shaking. Their legacy is cracking under the weight of your name because you weren't invited, but you made damn sure they'll never forget you. You were never meant to be here. That was the point. The whole game was designed to erase you. That smile they gave you, that was pity, not support. That silence, that was a coffin, not peace. They raised glass after glass, toasting their victories, never realizing that every time they counted you out, they were creating a storm. You were the failure in their statistics. You were the dropout, the broken one, the backup plan. But now look, they flinch when you walk in. They whisper when you move. They panic when you speak. Because you ruined their blueprint. You shattered their fragile comfort. They built it on lies, on blood they didn't earn, on victories they didn't deserve, on pretending to be strong in a world where strength was never tested. But your strength, it was forged in abandonment, in rejection, in betrayal. You didn't get a trophy, you got a scar. You didn't get applause, you got silence. You didn't get love, you got war. And that war taught you how to walk without a crowd, how to fight without an army, how to win with nothing. So now that you've stepped into the arena, don't ask why they're scared. They know. They see it. You weren't supposed to make it here, but now you're the reckoning. You ever wonder why they look uncomfortable around you? Why they avoid eye contact? Why they praise each other but go quiet when your name comes up? It's because you expose them. You expose their weakness. You expose the ease they lived in. You expose what happens when someone real walks through a fake world. You weren't trained in luxury. You were trained in chaos. While they learned to pose, you learned to endure. While they dressed for comfort, you bled for purpose. That's why every step you take feels like a threat to them. Because it is. You didn't need their school, their mentor, their approval. You didn't need a sponsor or a savior. You were your own salvation. You fell apart and put yourself back together with nothing but willpower and rage. So when they ask how the fuck you keep crashing their plans, smile. Because that's the secret, isn't it? You don't follow blueprints. You don't need a script. You're chaos incarnate. You're the exception to every rule they ever trusted. You're the broken piece that doesn't fit. And that's exactly why the machine is failing. Some of you are sitting there thinking, but I'm still in the struggle. I haven't ruined anything yet. Listen to me. The moment you refused to die quietly, the moment you chose to rise again, the moment you didn't give up, that was the beginning of the end for them. Because they were counting on your silence. They were depending on your despair. They were building futures on your failure. So every time you get up, you're dismantling everything they counted on. Every time you show up, you're a glitch in their matrix. You're the virus they can't delete. They don't want to admit it, but your presence terrifies them. Not because you're loud, not because you're violent, but because you're undeniable. They don't know how to deal with someone who refuses to stay broken. They don't know how to face someone who wasn't invited but walks in anyway. You've become the proof that their system isn't perfect, that their power isn't permanent, that their control isn't absolute. You are the fracture in their foundation, and the more you grow, the deeper the cracks run. So what do you do now? You don't beg, you don't explain, you don't wait for their acceptance. You walk like you own every room, because if you survived what tried to kill you, you already do. You burn the script, you spit in the face of their hierarchy. You speak, even if your voice shakes. You move, even if your legs are broken. You lead, even if no one follows. Because your story is not about being invited. It's about arriving anyway and changing the game. They'll say you're arrogant. They'll say you're dangerous. They'll call you names: rebel, outsider, villain. Let them. Wear it like armor. Because what they really mean is you're uncontrollable. You don't bend. You don't fall in line. You don't wait your turn. You are the threat, and threats aren't loved. They're feared. So be feared. Be the myth that keeps them up at night. Be the face they see in their rear-view mirror as their empire crumbles. Don't look for closure. Don't look for justice. You weren't born for peace. You were born for impact. You're not here to repair their world. You're here to break it open. You're not here to fit in. You're here to remind them what happens when someone they cast aside becomes unstoppable. You are the end of their comfort, the beginning of their reckoning, the shadow over their legacy. They had everything: money, guidance, connection, privilege. But you had something far more dangerous: nothing. Nothing to lose, nothing to prove, nothing holding you back. And from that void, you became something they could never duplicate. You became purpose. You became fire. You became inevitable. That's why you crash their plans, because you don't follow maps made by cowards. You forge your own path through fire and war. So if you ever doubt yourself, remember this: you weren't supposed to make it, and yet, here you are. A storm, a ghost, a living scar that reminds them what failure looks like when it fights back. You weren't invited, but you showed up. You weren't welcomed, but you stayed. You weren't expected, but you dominated. And now, the question is no longer, why are you here? The question is, who the hell is going to stop you? They thought they built a kingdom, but they forgot to build walls strong enough to keep you out. And now you're inside. Now you're burning it from within. Now you're the echo in every hollow room they once ruled, the nightmare that speaks the truth, the reckoning with a voice. You weren't supposed to have power, but now they can't move without feeling yours. So keep walking, keep rising, keep crashing their plans. You don't need their acceptance. You are your own revolution, a one-person war, an empire built on survival. And every step you take rewrites history, not theirs, yours. You want to know the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth that no one tells you because it scares them as much as it frightens you? You are not their mistake. You are the consequence of every lie, every betrayal, every injustice they hoped would bury you beneath the dirt. They built their kingdoms with bricks made of exclusion and fear, thinking it would keep you out forever. But they forgot one thing. The most dangerous things are those they never invite, the ones they don't prepare for, the ones who thrive in the shadows they never bother to guard. You were the storm, waiting patiently to shatter their glass castles, and shatter them, you did. Look at your hands. Are they trembling? Are they scarred? Are they bruised? Good. Those marks are proof you've been in the fight. Proof you didn't just watch the world crumble. You grabbed the wreckage and reshaped it. You weren't born with privilege or protection. You were born with fire in your veins and nothing to lose but your chains. And now, the question isn't how you keep crashing their plans. It's how much longer are they willing to watch everything they built collapse beneath your feet? Every move you make is a declaration. You're here, you're real, and you're unstoppable. Every time they say no, you say yes. Every time they close a door, you break the window. Every time they write you off, you write your own destiny in the blood of their doubts. You don't ask for favors because you're not playing their game. You're rewriting it. You weren't invited, and that's your power. It means you didn't have to follow their rules. You didn't have to play by their standards. You are the wild card in their carefully dealt hand, the chaos in their ordered lives, the crack in their perfect foundation. They built their world without you because they believed you would never be the storm. But storms don't ask for permission to rage. You are the uninvited guest at a party you weren't supposed to attend, but the music stops when you walk in. Because the noise you bring isn't polite chatter, it's thunder, it's an earthquake. It's a wake-up call to every fragile ego sitting comfortably on a throne built on other people's broken backs. I see the truth they try to bury, the shadow they can't outrun, the reckoning that they pretend not to hear until it's too late. You don't need their applause because you know the power of silent defiance, the strength in being unseen until you decide to break the silence. This is not about revenge. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about taking back what they tried to steal. Your time, your dreams, your identity. It's about walking into every room like you belong, because you do. The fact that they never invited you means nothing compared to the fact that you showed up anyway, and now you own the space they tried to deny you. Let that sink in. You turned their rejection into fuel. You turned their disdain into armor. You took their silence and made it raw. And when you think about the road ahead, know this: the battle will never be fair. It will never be easy. They will throw every weapon they have at you, their words, their lies, their alliances, their systems. They will try to crush you with shame, doubt, and isolation. But here's the secret. You're not just fighting them. You're fighting every moment you believed you weren't enough. You're fighting the ghost of every door slammed in your face. You're fighting the part of you that wanted to give up. And with every punch you throw back, you win a little more of yourself. You are not a mistake. You are not a failure. You are the glitch in their perfect system. The virus they can't cure. The wild card that breaks their rules. They tried to keep you out because they feared what you represent. Real power, raw resilience, undeniable presence. They built a world where you didn't belong, and you tore it down with your bare hands. And now you stand in the ruins, not as a victim, but as the architect of a new reality. So keep crashing their plans. Keep being the unwelcome truth in their comfortable lies. Keep being the uninvited storm in their calm skies. Because every time you refuse to stay down, you remind them that the greatest threat isn't the system they built, it's the fire they refuse to invite. And that fire, it's you. You have to understand, this isn't just a game of winning or losing. It's a war for your very existence. The world that tried to exclude you, to erase you, to ignore you. It did so because it feared the upheaval you bring. You weren't meant to be here, not by their design, not by their decree. And yet, here you are, ripping apart their perfect illusions with nothing but your sheer will and relentless refusal to be invisible. They built walls so high, so cold, so unyielding, hoping they could trap you outside forever. But walls aren't made to imprison storms. They're meant to be torn down. And you? You became the wrecking ball swinging through their defenses. You didn't ask for a place at their table because you understood the truth. Their tables are built on crumbs, on exclusion, on design failure for those they fear. You took the whole damn feast anyway. You destroyed their feasts and their futures because you saw their world for what it was, a fragile illusion held together by lies and fragile egos. You didn't come to play by their rules because those rules were never meant for someone like you. So you became the exception, the rule breaker, the uninvited force that shattered their order. They whisper about you behind closed doors, terrified and powerless, because they know you aren't just a person, you're a reckoning. You remind them of everything they tried to deny, that control is fragile, power is temporary, and their foundations are rotting. You are the inconvenient truth that won't be silenced, the nightmare they pretend doesn't exist, but can't stop fearing. You weren't invited, but you don't need an invitation to change the game. You don't need their permission to rewrite the story. You don't need their acceptance to claim your place. And if you're feeling the weight of it, if you're doubting your own strength, remember this. Every empire falls because it underestimates the ones it excludes. Every plan crumbles because it forgets about the chaos it can't control. You aren't the glitch in their system. You're the collapse, the beautiful, terrifying collapse of a world that never wanted you to rise. You're the unexpected storm that drowns their arrogance, the wildfire that burns their lies to ash. You aren't just ruining what they built. You're building something new from the ruins, something they will never understand, but cannot stop fearing. So when they ask, how the fuck do you keep crashing their plans? Don't give them an answer. Let your existence be the answer. Let your actions speak louder than their doubts. Because you aren't crashing their plans by accident or luck. You're doing it because you refuse to be small, because you refuse to be silent, because you refuse to be ignored. You are intentional. You are relentless. You are the force they tried to cage but never could. And here's the real truth. The more they try to stop you, the stronger you become. Every obstacle they throw in your path is just fuel for your fire. Every no is a challenge to say, watch me. Every closed door is a reason to find another way. This is the grind, the fight, the relentless pursuit of power that comes from within, from the dark places no one dared to explore. You weren't invited into their light, so you forged your own, burning brighter, because it was born from shadows. There's no turning back now. No apologies to be made. No silence to be accepted. You've crossed the line from being a forgotten mistake to becoming the nightmare that haunts their success. You've shattered their comfort and replaced it with chaos they can't control. And if you want to keep this fire burning, if you want to keep breaking every chain, every expectation, every plan they've made without you, then you keep going. You keep fighting. You keep crashing their world until the dust settles and they realize something undeniable. They built without you, but they survive because of you. You weren't invited. You weren't wanted. But you changed everything. So keep that in your veins. The fire that was never supposed to burn. The storm that was never supposed to rage. The force that was never supposed to rise. Because now that you're here, there's no stopping you. There's no quiet surrender. There's only the destruction of old worlds and the creation of new ones. And you are the revolution that will never be invited, but will always be impossible to ignore. They'll rewrite the story to make themselves the victims. They'll say you came out of nowhere. They'll act like you disrupted something beautiful, like you ruined what they worked so hard to create. But you know the truth. What they built was never meant to last. It was a fortress of exclusion, a monument to ego, a stage play where only their names were allowed in the credits. And you walked in without permission and flipped the entire script. Not because you wanted revenge, but because your existence alone was the correction to their lies. Your rise wasn't chaos, it was balance, it was justice. And now, every brick they laid without you trembles in your presence, so don't stop now. Don't let their shame disguise itself as your guilt. You weren't too loud, too much, too ambitious. You were exactly what was needed. Their systems were never sustainable. Their rules were meant to be broken. And their legacy, it was a throne built on silence. And you broke that silence with thunder. You weren't invited, and that was their first mistake. Because what they didn't realize was that being uninvited only made you more dangerous, more focused, more relentless. You are not the interruption. You are the evolution. And you didn't just crash their plans. You showed the world how fragile their plans truly were. Let them talk. Let them mourn the comfort you destroyed. Let them panic as they realize you're not fading, not stopping, not going away. This world wasn't built for you, so you built your own within it. And now it's louder, stronger, and realer than anything they ever imagined. You weren't part of their plan, but you became the part no one can ignore. You were never supposed to be here, and now you're the reason everything changed. Keep moving forward, keep burning, keep crashing. Because the future, it doesn't belong to the ones who were invited. It belongs to the ones who showed up anyway. If this message hits you in your core, if it stokes the fire in your soul, then don't walk away. Don't fade into the background. Subscribe now, hit that like button, and join the fight. Because we're building a movement from the ruins, a movement for the uninvited, the unbroken, the unstoppable. This is your tribe, your war cry, your family. And together, we'll keep crashing their plans until the world knows exactly who we are. Keep rising, keep fighting, keep breaking their rules. Because you weren't invited, but you ruined everything they built. And that's just the beginning. Hello, welcome back, Alpha audience. Let me tell you something, right here, right now. You are a force that they never saw coming. You moved in silence while they made noise. You bided your time while they made mistakes. You walked in the shadows while they flaunted their ignorance. And now look at them. Look at the trap they've set for themselves. While you stand tall at the peak of the mountain, they thought they'd conquer without realizing that you were the storm they never prepared for. You played the game by your own rules with no apologies, and now they're all trapped in the web they thought they controlled, and you're standing right there at the top, pulling the strings of fate, showing them just how powerless they really are. You have outmaneuvered them, outsmarted them, and outlasted them, and now they're trapped in the cage of their own creation. The game is over and it's your victory. When they thought they had you, when they believed they had calculated every move you made, when they thought they could predict your every action, they were wrong. They were blinded by their own arrogance. They underestimated your resilience, your intelligence, your will to push through no matter the cost. They thought they had the advantage they thought they had, cornered you into a position where you had no choice but to submit. But what they didn't understand is that you thrive under pressure. You rise in the face of adversity, and you adapt faster than they can even comprehend. While they were making moves, you were already several steps ahead, turning their mistakes into your next advantage, your next opportunity, your next win. Now, you stand in a position of power, a position they can't touch, a position they can't break free from. You see, they were so sure of their superiority, they never saw it coming. They never saw that you would use their own moves against them, turn their own weaknesses into your strengths. The walls they built to contain you have only served to imprison them. They thought they had the power. They thought they had the control. But all they did was dig their own grave, and now you're standing above them with the shovel in your hand, watching as they try to claw their way out of the pit they've fallen into. But it's too late. They're stuck, and you're the one holding all the cards. This is the moment where everything comes together, where all the work, the sacrifice, the pain, the grind finally pays off. This is the moment when you look around and see the chaos you've caused, the destruction you've left in your wake, and you realize that it was all worth it. Every sleepless night, every struggle, every failure, it was all worth it, because now they're the ones trapped in their own games, while you are free, while you are the one in control. They've become slaves to their own creation, while you stand unscathed above it all. Now they have to deal with the consequences of their actions, while you bask in the power you've earned, while they drown in their own mistakes. You know that feeling when you've been pushed to the edge, when you've been tested, when the world seems to have done everything in its power to break you, and instead of folding, instead of surrendering, you rise, you push back, you fight harder. You do what they never expected you to do, and in that moment, you become something more. You become the embodiment of survival, the embodiment of strength, the embodiment of someone who will never be broken. No matter what they throw at you, no matter how much they try to trap you, you rise, you fight, and you dominate. And that's exactly what you've done. You've outmaneuvered them at every turn, and now they're paying the price. But don't for a second think that they won't try to escape. That's the thing about those who are trapped. They will always try to find a way out. They will claw at the walls. They will scratch and bite. They will try every trick in the book to break free. But here's the truth. The harder they try, the deeper they sink, the more they struggle, the more they reveal their weaknesses, and the more they reveal their desperation. And that's when they're most vulnerable, because they've lost their ability to think clearly. They've lost their ability to plan logically. They're caught up in the chaos they created for themselves. And that's when you strike again, when they're at their most desperate, when they've already overextended themselves. And that's when you remind them that they're trapped. They can't escape. They're caught in your web, and there's nothing they can do to change it. You see, what they don't understand is that they never had control. They never had the power they thought they had. They thought they could outsmart you. They thought they could overpower you, but they were wrong. They couldn't even see the truth that was right in front of them. They were too busy chasing their own illusions, their own false sense of security. They were too busy thinking they were untouchable. But the reality is no one is untouchable. Not you, not me, not anyone. You see, the truth is they were always vulnerable. They were always weak. They just didn't know it yet. They thought they had it all figured out. They thought they had all the answers. But in the end, they didn't even know the right questions to ask. They didn't understand the rules of the game they were playing. They thought they could break the system, but they forgot that the system was already in place long before they came into the picture. So now they're left with nothing. They're left with the wreckage of their own failures, and they have no one to blame but themselves, because while they were busy trying to trap you, you were busy preparing for the day when the trap would be set for them. You were busy building your strength, building your strategy, building your plan. While they wasted time thinking they had already won, they were blind to the truth that they were already on the losing side, and you were the one orchestrating their downfall from the shadows. Every move you made, every decision you took, it was all leading to this moment, and now they're trapped in a situation they can't escape from. They're scrambling, they're panicking, they're trying to find a way out, but the walls are closing in faster than they can react. And all you can do now is watch as they struggle. Watch as they realize the mistake they made when they underestimated you. Watch as they finally come to terms with the reality that you were always the one in control, not them. And now they're stuck in the mess they created for themselves, and they have no one to blame but their own pride, their own hubris, their own ignorance. The funny thing is, they'll try to deny it. They'll try to act like nothing happened. They'll try to play it off, like they weren't the ones who set this trap, but the truth will always come to light. You see, they can try to run from it. They can try to ignore it, but they'll never be able to escape the reality they created for themselves. And in the end, they'll be left with nothing but the consequences of their own actions. While you stand tall above them, victorious because you were always the one who had the last laugh. This is your moment. This is your time to shine. This is your moment to show them exactly what happens when you play the game by your own rules, when you refuse to be a pawn in someone else's game, when you take control and turn the tables, when you make the moves they never saw coming, when you outmaneuver them at every turn and leave them trapped in their own mess. And the best part is, you don't have to do anything anymore. You don't have to fight anymore. You don't have to prove anything anymore, because the game is over. They lost and you won. So stand tall, stand proud, because this is the moment you've worked for, the moment when you prove to yourself and to the world that no one can ever outmaneuver you. No one can ever trap you. No one can ever defeat you, because you're the one who sets the rules, and they're the ones who are trapped in the cage you've created for them. You've outsmarted them, outplayed them, and now it's time for you to reap the rewards of your victory. Because when you're the one who controls the game, when you're the one who moves in silence while they make noise, when you're the one who stays focused while they get distracted, the victory is always yours, always. In every battle, in every war, in every challenge you face, it's not just about the momentary win, but the attitude with which you approach life itself. Your victory is not the culmination of one single triumph. It is the outcome of an accumulation of decisions, each move made with precision, each plan crafted in silence, and each misstep of your enemies leveraged to your benefit. It is the result of knowing when to strike, when to pull back, and when to wait in silence. See, most people are only thinking of the immediate. They're focused on short-term rewards, temporary victories, and shallow success. They don't see the bigger picture. They don't see the storm you're creating while they are chasing rainbows. That's where the true power lies, in knowing the game, understanding its depth, and mastering it, while they remain blissfully unaware of the depth of the abyss they are falling into. The essence of being a true victor is that you don't fight for the fleeting glory of today. You fight for the quiet power of tomorrow. And when the moment arrives, when the dust settles, you are standing there untouched by the chaos that surrounds you, with all of it in your control. They underestimated you because they were too focused on themselves. Their world was centered on their own power, their own agendas, their own desires for dominance. But while they were consumed by their own egos, you were studying the game. You saw the weaknesses they never noticed. You saw the cracks in their armor that they thought were invincible. And when they least expected it, when they thought they were at their highest, you made your move. You outwitted them because you understood that true power isn't about brute force. It's about strategy, foresight, and preparation. While they were busy building their empire, you were crafting the blueprint for their downfall. And now, look at them. Look at how they scramble, how they fight against the cage they've trapped themselves in. They think they can get out, that they can undo the damage, but they don't realize that you knew exactly how this would play out. Every move they made, every step they took, you had already calculated the next one. You were always ahead of them, always. When they tried to break you, they gave you the opportunity to break them. When they tried to corner you, they led themselves right into a trap of their own making. And now, they're paying the price. They are trapped in the very maze they built. The walls they put up to confine you have only served to imprison them, and there's no way out. But here's the thing, you didn't just win a battle. You didn't just outsmart them. You've won the war. You've defeated not just their plans, but their entire mindset. You've dismantled their belief that they were untouchable, that their status was permanent. And while they continue to flounder, trying to find their way out, they'll never understand that the fight was over before it even began. You were never just fighting them. You were fighting the system they represented, the arrogance, the overconfidence, the belief that they could rule without consequence. You destroyed that system, brick by brick, until nothing of their foundation remained but ashes. And now, they're left to watch as you stand tall on the wreckage of their hubris, a testament to the power of patience, intelligence, and strategy. As you watch them struggle, you realize that this is not just about winning. It's not even about revenge or proving something to them. It's about the deeper understanding of your own power. You've shown yourself what you're truly capable of. You've demonstrated that no one can touch you, no one can break you, and no one can ever stop you from achieving your goals. You've tested your own limits, pushed through the hardest of challenges, and come out victorious on the other side. And now, you stand with the knowledge that you can do it again, that this victory is just the first of many more to come. You've learned to trust your instincts, to rely on your own strength and intellect. You've learned to embrace the discomfort, the pressure, and the struggle, knowing that these are the moments that forge your character, that refine your resolve. This victory isn't just about the others, it's about you. It's about proving to yourself that you have what it takes to face whatever comes your way. And now that you've proven that to yourself, no obstacle can stand in your path. No challenge can break you. You've become an immovable force, a living testament to the power of persistence and intelligence. But make no mistake, the world will continue to test you. The games will change, the players will shift, and the challenges will evolve. But you will always remain the same, because you've learned something that others haven't. True power comes from within. It comes from a quiet strength that doesn't need to be flaunted, a resilience that doesn't need to be shown off, and a focus that doesn't need to be distracted by the noise around you. While they fight each other for crumbs, you'll be feasting at the table you built, made possible by the careful, strategic moves you made when others thought you were down and out. You've built a foundation that no one can touch. The trap they've set for themselves has only reinforced the walls you've constructed around your own empire. They'll look back on this moment, trying to find a way to shift the tide, but they won't be able to. The game is over. They lost. And you're just getting started. You've only scratched the surface of what you're truly capable of. There are greater battles ahead, and you'll face them with the same confidence, the same sharpness, and the same relentless pursuit of victory that you've demonstrated time and time again. You've become a force of nature, an unstoppable presence that moves through the world without fear, without hesitation, and without remorse. There are many who will try to tear you down, who will try to diminish your power and strength. They'll attempt to make you doubt yourself, to make you question your abilities, to make you feel like your victory wasn't deserved. But you know better. You've been to the edge. You've walked through the fire. You've seen the worst of what this world can throw at you, and you've come out stronger for it. Their words mean nothing. Their criticisms mean nothing. You know who you are, and you know exactly what you're capable of. So let them talk. Let them hate. Let them try to tear you down. It won't matter, because in the end, you are the one who controls the narrative. You are the one who decides what your future looks like. You are the one who decides what your future looks like. You are the one who will write the story of your success. They are the ones stuck in the past, trying to catch up to a game they've already lost. And while they scramble for a way out, you will continue to rise, higher and higher, until they can only look up at you in disbelief, unable to comprehend how you did it, unable to grasp the truth that they never had a chance. Victory is always yours, always. It's not just something you achieve, it's something you embody. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you navigate the world with the knowledge that no one can ever truly defeat you. The battle is won long before the first shot is fired. It's won in the preparation, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. You've already won, and all that remains is for the world to catch up. But let me tell you something, they never will, because you've already evolved beyond them. You've transcended the limitations that keep them in their place. The truth is, they're stuck in a cycle. They chase after fleeting power, temporary victories, superficial recognition, and when they fail to achieve those, they try to drag you down to their level. They want to break you. They want to see you crumble, because deep down, they know that you've done something they couldn't. You've figured out the rules of the game, and now you're playing it on your own terms. But here's the catch. The more they try to stop you, the faster they are racing towards their own destruction. While you've been building yourself up, strengthening your resolve, expanding your mind, and perfecting your craft, they've been stuck in their arrogance, thinking they could always control the game. But the reality is, they are simply players in a game they never understood, and they'll never catch up to, because you aren't playing the same game. You're in a completely different league, a different world, and they're still clinging to the hope that they'll somehow reach you. The reality is, that most of them will fall by the wayside. They will be consumed by their pride and desperation, trying to salvage what they think they have, clinging to remnants of power they never really owned in the first place. As they continue to chase after things that have no true meaning, you will be moving forward, towards a future they can't even fathom, while they waste their time battling the same ghosts they created in their own minds. They'll always be chasing something that was never theirs to have. There's an immense power in being underestimated. People see you. They see your quiet demeanor, your focus, your patience, and they mistake it for weakness. They think you're just sitting there, waiting for your moment to act, unaware of the storm that's quietly brewing beneath the surface. The greatest minds in history weren't the loudest. They weren't the ones constantly seeking attention. They were the ones who moved in silence, who took their time to build and strategize. And then, when the time was right, they struck with such force that it left their enemies paralyzed, unable to even understand what had just happened. This is the power of being underestimated. It gives you the element of surprise, the element of control. You've turned their ignorance into your greatest weapon, and they don't even know it. What's incredible is that you've mastered the art of being patient, of waiting for the perfect moment to act without rushing. Most people are so focused on the immediate, on the now, that they can't see the bigger picture. They rush into things, make impulsive decisions, and in the end, they exhaust themselves, only to fall short of their goals. You, on the other hand, are a strategist. You understand that success isn't about instant gratification. It's about playing the long game, building the right foundations, and making calculated moves when the time is right. They chase after the immediate, while you work on the eternal. And this is what separates you from them. This is what ensures that you will always rise above the noise, always stay one step ahead. And while they are distracted with their illusions of power, you're already creating something real. You're forging an empire from the ground up, not one based on vanity or fleeting moments of glory, but one based on the strength of your own resolve, the integrity of your actions, and the consistency of your efforts. Everything you do is deliberate. Every step you take is calculated, and every action you make is done with the utmost precision. There's a quiet elegance to your power. It's not loud, it's not brash, but it's undeniable. And this is the kind of power that will last forever. But don't expect the world to see this at first. They won't understand the depth of your strategy. They won't see the years of work, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices you've made. They won't understand how far you've come or what it took for you to get here. The world only understands success when it's already been achieved. They don't see the invisible battles, the behind-the-scenes work, the grind. But that's okay. You're not doing this for their approval. You're doing it for yourself, for the future you're building, for the legacy you'll leave behind. The world can catch up when it's ready. You've already passed them by. There's another truth in this, and it's one that will hurt many people to hear, but it's something you must come to terms with. Not everyone deserves to be on your journey. As you ascend, as you rise above the chaos and noise of the world, you'll notice that some people will fall away. They'll stop keeping up. They'll get left behind. And you must not feel guilty for this. Not everyone has the drive, the dedication, or the mindset to keep up with someone like you. Some people will try to hold you back, to drag you down, to make you feel like you're the one who's wrong for leaving them behind. But you have to understand that their journey is not your journey, and it's not your responsibility to carry them along the way. You've come to this point by your own efforts, by your own will, by your own strength. You've faced the hardest battles, weathered the toughest storms, and stood alone when no one else could see the vision you held. And now that you're moving toward your destiny, you must be willing to let go of the people, the distractions, and the beliefs that once held you back. Because the truth is, not everyone around you is ready to ascend with you. Some will resist your progress, and some will actively try to sabotage your success. But you must not let their shortcomings pull you down. You are not responsible for their growth, only for your own. As you continue to move forward, remember this: your success isn't a burden. It's not something to feel guilty about. You've earned it. And for every person who doubts you, who belittles your achievements, who tries to minimize your victories, remember that they only do so because they see the reflection of their own inadequacy in your success. They'll never admit it, but their envy is a testament to the fact that they wish they had your strength, your resilience, your courage to push through. But they don't, and they never will, because they're stuck in a world of their own making, one where they constantly chase after empty validation. And you're beyond that. You're beyond the need for external approval, beyond the craving for recognition. You've built yourself into something that can't be touched, can't be broken, and can't be stopped. Now, as the world watches from the sidelines, wondering how you did it, wondering what magic you possess, you simply smile. You know what it took. You know what sacrifices you made, what choices you've endured, what battles you've fought and won in silence. And they will never understand. They will never comprehend the sheer amount of work, dedication, and strategy that went into your rise. But that's the beauty of it. They never needed to. Your victory doesn't need their approval. It never did. You did this for yourself, and that's all that matters. You have ascended to a level they can't touch. And as you continue to climb, as you continue to rise, remember that the world is always going to try to throw obstacles your way. But you've already learned that obstacles are just opportunities to grow stronger. Challenges are just opportunities to prove your resilience. Every setback is just a stepping stone to your ultimate success. They will try to shake you, but they will never break you. You are untouchable. And as they scramble, trying to figure out what went wrong, you'll continue to walk your path, knowing full well that victory is always yours. Always. Let them try to catch up. They never will. In the end, victory is yours. Always. You've outmaneuvered those who sought to stop you, and now they're left trapped in their own miscalculations. While they scramble to understand what just happened, you continue to rise, unbothered, unshaken, and unstoppable. Your journey is defined not by their approval, but by your own unwavering strength, strategy, and vision. Let them chase. You are already where they can never reach. The world will catch up, but you will always be ahead. This is your victory, your triumph, your moment, now and forever.